Before pay-per-view, before streaming, before sold-out arenas and stadium shows, professional wrestling lived on television. Not house shows, not supercards, not even five-star classics. It was television. Every week in a small studio and local stations across America, wrestling had one job: keep viewers watching. To do that, promoters created a championship that wasn't about prestige. It wasn't about main events, and it wasn't even about being the best wrestler in the company. It was about being reliable, being entertaining, and being made for TV. Today, on the history of professional wrestling, we're going to talk about one of the most important and most misunderstood championships in professional wrestling history. That's right, I'm talking about the television championship. From the NWA, from WCW to ECW, even from Championship Wrestling from Florida, the television title was always somewhere in some fashion in every major wrestling company and territory. So sit back, relax, and, well, the Dean Joe Monroe is actually going to be traveling all over the place today, so come on this trip with me. To understand the television championship, you have to understand how wrestling worked before cable television. In the territory era, from the 40s to the 80s, wrestling was built around local markets. Promoters weren't running national companies, they were running regional companies. And TV, it wasn't that much of a moneymaker. TV was more of an advertisement. Most wrestling shows aired early mornings, late nights, and on low-budget television stations. Sometimes taped in TV studios, high school gyms, armories, small arenas with very limited crowd. The goal wasn't to sell tickets on television. No. The goal was to get people to come to the live shows. But here was the problem. Television had strict time limits. Stations didn't care about wrestling logic. The only thing they really cared about was commercial breaks, hour-long blocks, and schedules that couldn't run long. Promoters needed a way to present meaningful matches that fit neatly into television windows, didn't burn through big money feuds, and could happen every single week. And that is where the idea of the television championship was born. The television championship was never meant to be the top belt. It was designed for frequency, not fame. Promoters needed a championship that could be defended weekly, a title that didn't require long matches, and a champion who could wrestle and talk. A TV title was perfect because it gave weekly shows something important, it allowed champions to retain via time limit draws, and it created built-in storytelling without title changes. Most TV matches had a 10-minute time limit, occasionally, every now and again, 15 minutes, and rarely went to decisive finishes. That wasn't a flaw at all, which is probably what you're thinking right now. No. That was its greatest feature. A champion could escape with the belt. A challenger can claim they were never beaten, and fans would tune in the next week to see if the landscape would change. The belt existed for television ratings, not house show gates, and no territory understood that better than Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling. When people think of television championship, they usually think of Jim Crockett Promotions. Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling turned the TV title into an art form. The NWA World Television Championship became a workhorse belt, a proving ground, and a measuring stick for future stars. Kind of like how the Intercontinental title was originally in the WWF. It was defended constantly on Worldwide Wrestling and Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling television tapings. The matches were fast-paced, technical, and story-driven. And the champions, they weren't just wrestlers. God, goodness no. They were television performers. Bout rewarded ring conditioning, ring awareness, and clock management, which basically means they can tell how long a match can go and, all that. Champions learn how to stall intelligently, control the pace of the match, and use the time limit as a weapon. and fans learned something important from all that. This title actually matters. Now, to the modern fan, you're probably thinking, you're saying time limit draw an awful lot. I hate time limit draws. Well, back in the territory era, they were essential. Television title thrived on them. Time limit draw protected both wrestlers, extended feuds naturally, and avoided overexposing finishes. A heel champion could run from engagement, take breathers, and survive without truly winning, while a babyface challenger could push the champion to the brink, claim more victory, and demand another shot the next week. This taught fans patience. It taught storytelling. And it also taught wrestlers how to work smart and not just hard. Let's talk about men who defended that belt. When I think of the NWA Television Championship, there's only one person that comes to mind, and that is the enforcer, Arn Anderson. Arn didn't just hold the television title, he owned it. Methodical, precise, ruthless, Arn made every defense feel important, even when the matches ended in a draw. Now, of course, when you think Arn Anderson, you can't help but think Tully Blanchard. He was cocky, technical, and the perfect heel. Tully would use arrogance, rule breaking, and time management to help defend the television championship. He made fans hate how smart he was. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Steamboat brought athleticism, fire, and clean compassion. He turned the television title into a showcase of pure wrestling. Now, someone that not many people know is very highly associated with the television title, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Dusty broke the mold. He brought main event energy to the television belt. When Dusty held it, the TV title felt as important as the world's title. Mike Rotunda, that's right, IRS himself, often overlooked but very incredibly important. Rotunda's consistency personified. Week after week, he delivered solid, believable matches that kept TV audiences hooked. Now, when WCW took over Jim Crockett Promotions, the TV title actually survived, but the landscape changed. Cable television expanded. Pay-per-view became king. Matches got a lot longer. The TV title struggled to find its place. Still, they were bright spots. Booker T, for example. Booker revived the belt's relevance, intensity, charisma, athletic dominance. For a brief time, the television title felt important again. But eventually, time limits disappeared, weekly defenses slowed, and other titles kind of replaced its role. The television title, sadly and quickly, faded away. While the name may be gone, the concept is definitely not. Any championship that is defended weekly, featured heavily on television, and used to help elevate talent and the next generation, carries the spirit of the television title. The AEW TNT Championship, that's a TV title and everything but the name. Open challenges, frequent defenses, workhorse champions. The DNA is still in the roots of professional wrestling today. You know, the television title, it wasn't flashy. It didn't headline stadiums, but it may be the most important championship in professional wrestling history. Because without it, weekly wrestling wouldn't have really worked. TV audiences wouldn't have stayed invested. Countless stars may never have been made at all. It was professional wrestling's backbone, and it 1000% deserves to be remembered. Now, before we end this, I know you're thinking, Joe, there was other television titles, and there's still one TV title left standing. Well, you know, get up and come with me. I actually used the whiteboard for once. Hang on just a second. Alright, so here we go. We're starting with the NWA Mid-Atlantic title, which we have talked about over and over again. It lasted from 74 to 77, which turned into the NWA title, which lasted from 77 to 85, which lasted into the NWA World Television title, which lasted from 1985 to 1991. Before you even start, yes, world means the difference, apparently. Then, of course, it got observed to WCW from 91 to 2000. We do not talk about WCW 2000. Then we went on to Georgia Championship Wrestling, which lasted from 69 to 79, which then turned into the NWA National title, which lasted from 79 to 84, then was absorbed to the NWA title back in 84. Moving down the list, we have the ECW television title, which lasted from 92 to 2000. The WCCW, or the WCWA television title, lasted from 79 to 1987. It went through various name changes. I didn't feel like, naming all of them, nor did I have the room. The only one still in existence, the Ring of Honor television title, started in 2010 and is still going strong. Ring of Honor is doing something right. You want to know who's not doing something right? TNA! TNA's television title lasted from 2010 to 2014. Yes, before you even start, it was formerly known as the TNA Legends title, the TNA Global title, and later the King of the Mountain Championship, which we don't really talk about. And last but not least, the CWF Championship Wrestling from Florida television title, which lasted from 1970 until 1987. And people, guess what? Go watch that episode. It's a pretty good freaking episode. Whew, I gotta sit back down. Okay, we're back. Now, I got a question for you all. Who is your favorite television champion from any of these companies? Should wrestling bring back the television title with real time limits? Let me know in the comments below, because to be completely honest with you, I would love to see that back. But until next time, this is the Dean, Joe Monroe. Thanks Samp and Chance Podcasting for that. It's been an honor and a pleasure to do another episode of the History of Professional Wrestling. It was kind of neat to do a title for a change and not really a company. If you want to see more of the mix-up, let me know in the comments below as well. But before I leave, I got to give a shout out to the Wrestling Society Network. That's right. This is something that was built by wrestling fans for professional wrestling fans. If you have not yet, go to thewrestlingsociety.com, make your free account, and don't forget to follow not only myself, but the other wonderful professional wrestling podcasts that are on the Wrestling Society Network. Until next time, or should I say, until next week, this is the Dean, Joe Monroe, and I will see you all later.